Athens is quickly becoming one of the most popular cruise ports in the Med to start a cruise holiday. And in this video, we want to talk to you guys about Athens as a cruise port because perhaps you might not have cruised from there before. It might be your first ever cruise holiday. And we kind of just want to give you some guiders and tips on the location of the port, what to expect. And yeah, just really kind of guide you on your cruise if you are embarking in Athens on your next holiday.
And I think what's really useful, I was in Athens on a cruise last year, last July. This time last year, I was on one of the ships. You're just back.
Yes, 2 weeks.
And so, and I think as Venice has kind of declined in popularity, and as some of the cruise lines have had to reposition their ships from Venice due to size regulations, Athens really has become more important as a gateway destination for embarkation, disembarkation. It can be where you go in and out, or it may be the port of embarkation and you finish somewhere else, or it may be a disembarkation port at the end of your cruise. But what it is another great city in terms of cruise departures, things to do pre and post your cruise. And what we want to do is make it easy for you in terms of the getting from A to B. Because Athens is a mega city.
It really is.
Like just about 4.5 million people. God. The entire population of Ireland
you can fit
is in
Athens. Oh my God. And coming from Dublin, the flight time is about 4 hours as well. It was 4 hours for me on the way back because I flew home from Athens.
And the flight frequency is really good now.
Yeah, it is.
You know, Aer Lingus fly, Ryanair fly, and Aegean fly. So you have 3 airlines on that route. Ryanair year round. Aer Lingus have a very long season into Athens, and Aegean are summer. So there is a really, really good selection of flight options out of Dublin. There's nothing out of Cork and nothing out of Shannon as yet, but watch this space. And the other thing is Athens Airport, it's a relatively new airport. It's quite a distance outside the city. It was rebuilt or built from scratch when Athens played host to the Olympics. I can't remember what year that was. But the old airport was pretty much in the city near Glyfada. And that is now a construction site for some super new mall. So the airport, just in terms of the airport, the city and the port, we should do logistics for everybody.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's dive right in. So
my easiest way to think about Athens is draw a square. At the top right of the square is the airport. Right in the middle of the square is the city. And at the bottom left of the square is Piraeus port, because the main port of Athens is Piraeus port. So it's quite a distance. The city is closer to Piraeus than it is to the airport, but it's almost in that square, the diagonal, going right across it. And journey times, let's have a look at the journey times. So if you're flying into Athens and going straight to the port, you effectively will do an M50 around Athens and go straight to the port. Journey time is about an hour. It's 50 kilometers. It's a good distance. Traffic in Athens is quite sticky, as you can imagine, with 5 million people living there. It can be fairly frantic. So it's approximately, they say you can do it in 45 minutes. It's always taken me an hour to get from the airport to Piraeus, or from Piraeus to the airport. But it is on that ring road. They're equivalent to the M50. And price-wise for a cab, it's going to be about 60 to 70 euros per cab.
That's not too bad at all.
Which for the journey time is not too bad.
No.
And absolutely tons of cabs at the airport. You don't have to pre-book, and tons of cabs at the port. Again, you don't have to pre-book, but you can.
No, that's great. It's good to know that as well. And if somebody wanted to spend time in Athens city centre before cruise, then from the airport to the city centre, time-wise, what would that be?
Time-wise, it's about 45 minutes. It's a shorter journey. But it still takes 45 minutes because once you're going from the airport and getting close to the city, the traffic ramps up.
Of course,
So that's why, even though it's only 30 Ks from the airport into the city, but 30 Ks is a good distance. That will give you an indication of how far outside the city. Like when you consider Dublin Airport to the city is about 10 kilometers, thereabouts. So we're very close. They're 30 Ks outside of the city per se. So quite the distance. 45 minutes of a drive, and fare-wise, 40 to 45 euros.
That's not too bad.
Not too bad.
Not too bad, because I think it would be lovely, because you've travelled quite a distance going to Athens. Like if you did want to do a couple of nights beforehand, that's not too bad at all to be able to travel in.
It is a great city for pre or post.
Great food, lots of history.
You know, I'm a fan of pre because it takes some of the pressure off.
True. You know, on that journey, on the way.
You know, you're not doing everything in the one day. You get to the airport and you can come into the city and chill and enjoy, and then you can kind of have an easier time the following day to get to the port.
Yeah.
But even post, I love post because, you know, when you're leaving the ship, it's a real downer.
I know, you're always sad. Cruise blues are real.
Yeah, it's kind of nice. It is. It's very true. And you're off the ship fairly early in the morning, so it gets even bluer. So from that point of view, I think to reward yourself with a night or two in a city before you go home, just helps kind of, you know, manage that end of holiday feeling.
Yeah, that's nice.
But, you know, for me, then do both. Do pre and do post. And somewhere like Athens, you've so much to see. The Acropolis, the history, like it's all kind of humankind started there.
It would be a shame to miss it after going to it, to just go to the port.
And so much to see, so much to do. Very nice. Even with the size of city that huge, the downtown and the tourist area is very compact.
Okay, good to know.
In around Syntagma Square, where the Parliament is, where you see those great Greek soldiers doing their funny footsteps, that's right in the centre of town. Everything you want to see is in the centre of town. You can see the Acropolis from there.
Oh, I love
They've done an amazing job on restoring and rebuilding the new Acropolis Museum. It is just brilliant. And then add to that, like Greek food.
No, my favorite. Like so good.
Perfect.
My favorite.
Yeah.
And then talking then down at the port. So you mentioned the name of the port there.
Piraeus.
Piraeus, yes. So that is not too far from the city centre. You were saying 20-25 minutes or so.
Yeah, 20-25 minutes. It's only 15 kilometres from the city to the port. Yeah. And there is a metro.
Okay.
There is Piraeus is on the metro line for the city. So there's great metro, great public transport for the suburbs of Athens. Yeah. But from, you know, you've luggage, you're not going to be bothered with a metro. And then the metro, relative to where your ship is, you're not going to lug your suitcase. No. So it's going to be a taxi, folks, I think.
Oh, yeah.
It's only 13 to 15 Ks. Journey time, it's 20 to 25 minutes, again, depending on traffic. And price-wise, 25 to 30 euros.
Yeah, that's okay. Yeah, that's
Piraeus is a huge port, though, Kathleen,
because
it's not only serving, like Greece is synonymous with shipping. And, you know, all of the huge shipping companies originated in Greece with Aristotle and Assos and these people. And then you have the Greek islands. And all the ferries go from Piraeus.
I noticed, and they're lined up. It's huge.
To all of the islands.
Yeah, it's huge.
It's where all the backpackers used to go, where all the island hopping used to start from. You'd fly into Athens, you'd get to Piraeus, and you'd get on a ferry and go to the islands. So you have all of those ferries and all of that infrastructure. Like, it is a vast port.
Yeah, I noticed that actually when we got off, because we disembarked in Athens, but I had began in Barcelona. And when we came out, and you can kind of see the initial cruise ship piece coming off your ship, I couldn't get over how large the port just kept going as we left the grounds of it. It is huge.
It is vast. Like, I'm not exaggerating. You know, it's like its own bay.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, Piraeus is its own bay. You have cargo ships. You have the day trippers going off to the different islands, the nearby islands like Hydra and Egina. You have the ferries going to all of the islands. And then you have the cruise lines, because Athens has developed as a cruise port pretty much since Venice has dropped. I think Athens has really risen. Yeah. Piraeus was always a busy port, more so for ferries, more so for cargo. Yes, some cruise ships, but now, because it opens up such great itineraries. Like, look at your itinerary. You know, you did the Greek islands as part of yours, which is super, and a bit of Turkey.
And Malta as well. Yeah. And that was all connected with Athens.
And for us, we went up the Adriatic and did Croatia, Montenegro,
that has to be the
Corfu.
next one.
So, you know, Athens is a great port for cruising in terms of the destination and the itineraries that it opens up.
And as busy a port as it is, each ship has its own terminal as well. So it's very easy, very seamless. You leave your luggage when you arrive. You will have already checked in on your app beforehand. You'll run through like a security process. They'll check your passport and you're straight on board. It is so easy.
It is exactly like any other cruise embarkation port.
So
exactly the same process. So even though it is this very large port that we're describing, what you said is so true.
Yeah.
For the holidaymaker, it is seamless.
It is.
And they're just great at what they do. You rock up. And that's again why I would be saying, I know there's a metro from Athens to Piraeus, but it's the wrong side of it could be the wrong side of the bay.
I know.
To where your ship is, so just taxi
Just get your taxi.
It's, you know, especially with two of you, it's not worth like 25, 30 euros. Come on. It's well worth it for the convenience of being dropped right there. And then when you come back, the taxis all know what ships are,
exactly. There was a huge line of taxis when I came off. Huge. Probably more than I've nearly seen in any other port before. They were ready and waiting for everybody to take people where they needed to go. And again, when we disembarked in Athens, it was so easy getting off the ship again. We actually kind of docked on like a bay, I guess. The word I'm looking for. I'll cut this out now. We weren't into a terminal. We were on the ground. What?
I don't know. This is a quiz. I'm not good at quizzes.
So we got off the ship, but we were on solid ground. We hadn't entered the terminal building.
Okay.
So we had a pathway to walk. So first we got hit with that Greek sunshine. It was glorious. But our suitcases were in the terminal building. And again, it was just so easy. Everybody's so friendly and helpful. And if you had a transfer bus, they were right next to the taxi. Yeah. So there was people outside just guiding you whatever direction you needed to go, because obviously you can also book transfers if that is something that you prefer to do.
Yeah.
But it's so seamless, so easy. And as you say, it's a port that you're probably going to see more about in terms of cruise itineraries. It has certainly opened up, I think, the Eastern Med in a lot of ways. Maybe it's given more options. It's given options for larger ships to do a lot of the Greek Isles.
And I think what it's also doing is opening up more winter Med cruising.
Yeah.
Because the weather down that part of the Med is more pleasant in the winter than in the Western Med.
Yeah.
So I think from a weather point of view, it's going to work. But as you say, whether you use the taxis, but also the cruise lines also offer transfers.
Yeah.
And it's easy, it's seamless.
It's so
easy.
You
might be used to Barcelona and thinking, I'm familiar with that. Athens is just a different port.
Yeah.
You don't have the proximity in Barcelona of port to the airport and port to the city, but it's very manageable. It is really manageable. And the guys have all the information. We have all the information. We want you to have the information and then put it all together and get the perfect cruise.
Exactly. And that's what we're here to help you do. So if you would like more information on some fabulous cruises from Athens or any of the Mediterranean region or anywhere in the world, you can call our cruise experts on 016995329. They are 5-star rated. They are here 7 days a week to help you plan a dream holiday. And of course, on our website, you can find our best cruise offers as well. And you will find them on
Click&Go.com.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.